17th, our final one of the school year. You have before you an agenda. May I have an approval?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? This meeting is being audio and video recorded. And I would like to open the floor for public comment. Anyone? We have several people. If you would come up to the podium and state your name. Thank you. Yeah, right up here.
Good evening. My name is Tina Stedman. I am a preschool teacher and special ed liaison at Nantucket Elementary School. And I would like to share a story with you. As an educator, we often hear about what is not going well, and while feedback can inform our practice, it is unfortunately infrequently that we hear or share the many good things that are occurring in our profession. Several weeks ago, our children's author, Meg Medina, came to share with our NES school. And before she spoke, the NES Student Council, which is comprised of 6 second grade NES students, one from each class, came to the stage in the NES auditorium to introduce her. What unfolded before me brought myself and several of my colleagues to tears. And I feel imperative to share this with you because as an educator, we can get caught up in the minutia and the day-to-day or weekly, but this was a beautiful example of what happens in education over a period of time, and I would like to share this story with you. The 6 students approached the stage with such confidence and grace, and they had each written a portion of the author introduction and shared from the stage. I want to say there were well over 400 students in attendance, NES, pre-K through second grade, and the Lighthouse School, lower school was there as well. I want to tell you these students read with fluency, inflection, feeling, and had written in their own voice. The 6 students are a true representation of our school students. There were students with IEPs, bilingual students, and students of different cultural backgrounds. One student had even memorized what he had written so that he could step forward and share what he had written while making eye contact with an audience. This is a second grader. Impressive. Many of these students on the school council have been in NES since they were in preschool, and several of which I've had the privilege of working with. They were and are a wonder. These students represent all that is the incredible hard work and dedication of our teachers and my fellow colleagues, of our principal and assistant principal, of all the incredible therapists and support staff that work with our students. I have never been more proud of the work that I do at NES as a teacher and so proud of our students. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it actually takes a village to educate a child as well. And I'm honored to be part of their journey and part of NES. And I just want you to be so proud of these students and what they have done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Tina's a little more. Hi, I'm Mary Lepre, and I'm speaking solely as a parent, and Tina was much more eloquent. I am here because I feel like I look at the school and I see that we have about, 15 administrators above the principals who have no interaction with children, and yet NES still does not have one certified instructor for dyslexic children. I think we have someone that is almost done with their training, but I really think, what are we here for? Are we here for the administrators to push paper, or are we here to teach children to read? Because what is important is that when a child leaves NES and goes to 3rd grade, they need to know how to read. Because if they don't know how to read by the time they get there, the gap is widening. And if 20% of the population is dyslexic, why do we not have that? Why do we have no reading instructor certified in Orton Gillingham. We should have 400 kids. We should have a couple of them. And we still don't have that. But yet I hear talk at town meetings about building new buildings, and there's a redesign for administration housing, and I get people need offices, but I feel like first and foremost, our students need to be able to read. And I don't see that as being a priority coming from you all, who we all vote in to represent us. So I feel like that really should come from the top down to say, we need to focus on making sure our students can read, because if you can't read, the world is closed to you. And it doesn't matter if your language isn't English as your first language. It should not matter. You should be getting all of the resources from pre-K to grade 3 to make sure those students can read. And I don't feel as a parent that is the priority coming down to our students. Because if that was the priority, all of the Orton Gillingham trained instructors wouldn't be in grades 3, 4, and 5. We really should focus, because if kids can't read, when they get to high school, how are they going to feel about themselves? If we're not catching these things until they're middle school, how do you think that affects them? So as a parent, I just would love to see a more focus on making sure that our students can read, and less focus on having more and more administrators pushing paper around. I also would ask that when you guys speak, if you all speak into your microphone, because if you're watching these meetings at home, it's very hard to hear you speak. And this is, I think, the only town meeting that you can't interact with from home. You have to come here, which you're the school committee and we are all parents, and we can't always, I have one of my children with me because that's our rule. You have to take one with you. So I had to bring one of my children with me, but it doesn't make it easily accessible for parents to come to these if you can't zoom in and take 5 minutes to go and say your piece. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
I'll speak up. Charles Douglas, station manager of Nantucket Community Television. I'm here to talk about cell phones. Just kidding. Actually, what I want to talk about first and foremost is addressing the last speaker, not trying to crosstalk, but we have started conversations on upgrading your broadcast equipment. The cameras are on us, and we are working on that. And we've had discussions with folks in IT regarding the next capital equipment process with the town to address the speakers, because yes, they were shot when I got here 3 years ago, and I want to work on that with y'all to improve your audio quality. So with that said, I'm actually here to deliver a list of acknowledgments and thank yous here at the end of the school year. First, we had our first ever live NHS graduation from Vito Capizzo, and everyone I've talked to said it looked awesome. And really a special event, so thanks to everyone who made that possible from across the school district. And we have our 8th grade advancement, is it called advancement? Yeah, promotion. This Friday at 9 a.m. we'll be live for that as well. We received a national award, I should announce right now, for our election day coverage back last November. And I want to thank Miss Christie and all of her students, and John Carl McGrady. This wasn't planned, but he just happens to be in the audience tonight. So you're valedictorian from 4 years back. They put together an exit poll. The students conducted the poll, got over 300 entries. And what do you know? The results of such a scientific poll closely matched the outcome of the election, at least here on Nantucket last November. So I'm going to collect that award at the National Community Media Conference in Boston next week. So I just want to thank all the students, the faculty who were involved with that. Town meeting. Well, regardless of people's opinions about how the votes turned out, certainly the broadcast was live on the air, and we got to spend 15 hours together over 2 nights. And so I want to thank Chip Clooney, since he's on the agenda tonight, everybody, facilities and IT, for helping us make that possible. And I want to thank Kevin Serrano. Obviously, you've been used to seeing him here instead of me for school committee nights. I think I'll drag him in here one more time in August to train his replacement, but we are going to be losing him. You all aren't going to be losing him. He'll stay with the district, but he's going to be doing his evenings instead of with us over at the 4C, starting his higher education journey. So I want to acknowledge Kevin for all his work for school committee, for other government stuff with NCTV, and actually, you know where he got to start? Sports Connection. So, switching hats. We had a banner year with Nantucket Sports Connection. We're on track for our viewership, for our YouTube subscribers, all those analytic numbers to eventually exceed that for town government. And these are both my kids. I'm supposed to like them equally, but I'm still pretty proud of that. I really want to thank Travis and Matt, since they're on the agenda tonight as well. They've been so very accommodating with our endless text and emails about all these scheduling changes due to weather, as well as visiting rosters and facility accommodations. So I want to thank them for all their hard work throughout the year. And I want to thank Nantucket Golf Club Foundation and all our business, nonprofit, and individual supporters, because we're not funded by the school or by the town to do this sports program. We are totally dependent on the generosity of our local community and our excitement for what Chris Morris, who can't be here tonight, likes to call Whalers Nation. So I think that's about my 3 minutes. So I'm going to throw it to NHS alumnus and former Whaler athlete in his own right, Sean Davis, who has been our instructor as well as our eyes on the field for since the beginning of our program. And he's been teaching classes at NCTV and for the first time this spring at our house, and getting kids behind the camera as well as in front of the camera and making them part of production of Sports Connection as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.
Congrats.
Good evening, everyone. Sean Davis, class of 2013, NHS grad. And I feel very honored to be here tonight on behalf of Charles and the TV station and the Sports Connection. About 5 years ago, when Chris Morris and I decided to take on the animal of the Sports Connection and tackle it together, I was very proud to do so, despite the hours that we had to put into it and the technology that he and I had to figure out, which thankfully now Charles, the tech wizard, is able to really drive this thing home and turn it into a really professional broadcast. But when it started, the Oedipus for Chris and I was to give back to the community, and I think that's what we've carried through the entire production of the Nantucket Sports Connection. And when I was in high school, we did not have this level of coverage for the sports, and I see this as such a benefit not only to the student athletes, to their families, their friends, and the community as a whole, but beyond the involvement from the sports standpoint, this program has been able to generate interest from non-student athletes, students who are interested in sports. For example, Olivia Nascimento, one of our camera operators, Weston Scott has been a total workhorse on the production side, figuring out all the technology that Charles is really great at. And Colby Lucas, Mark Lucas' son of Nantucket Golf Club, whom we thank very much for their generous support, have all been involved in the broadcasts. And I think that this program truly embodies community and the community of Nantucket. And like we heard earlier, it takes a village. So as we conclude this sports season and look forward to the next, we will take support in any form. We're happy to teach everyone. It was a really proud moment to teach at the station this year and then also at our house. So I thank you all for your time tonight, and a huge thank you to the athletic department for all they do for us, and Nantucket Golf Club and all the other community supporters that we've had over the years. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is, Rose Rosales. Rose Rosales, and I'm here to talk about the staffing issues that have been plaguing our district since the dawn of time. If you look at the agenda, you'll notice that Dr. Hallett is scheduled to give a hiring update. Hopefully we'll get some good news, but it's no secret that we have some staffing issues here in the district, and it's also no secret that those issues are mostly contributed to by housing and our housing market on Nantucket. And while recently we've been filling every staff position, in past years that has been somewhat of an issue, and filling every staff position is not the best that we can do. And I won't name anyone, but certain teachers live in infamy in the high school for both regular children and the most high achievers, the most independent and hardworking students. And yes, we have been filling every teaching position, but that doesn't mean that our kids are being educated adequately. And this is a fault with housing, because what I've heard from the school administration is that we have plenty of good, qualified candidates that are enthusiastic about moving to Nantucket, but we can't hire them because of housing, because they can't find housing. And the systems that we have in place right now are unreliable, and thinking about building new housing is almost like a dream because it's so costly and requires such a drastic change to voter opinion. But a true solution like that is not impossible, impractical, or imaginary. It doesn't have to be. It takes a while, but we can flip it around. I think that we can achieve a large, quality, and effective housing project for teachers over time with an advertising campaign. And it sounds a little funny, but if we advertise all over the island to voters and town officials alike, we can make them realize how critical of an issue this is, and how if we want to keep the spirit of education that Nantucket has thrived on for so long going, then we have to make sure that our teachers are housed and that we can hire new teachers that are properly trained and educated so we can ensure that our students are learning the material and learning it well and deeply. But while doing this, we also have to advertise for more people to rent their homes or rooms or cottages to island teachers, because we already do that. We already send out notices, but we don't do it enough. We aren't pleading, because that is what we need to do. We need to plead, because we are dire. Driving past a poster every morning on your way to work has a bigger impact than a single notice. Hearing an ad on the radio every single week has a bigger impact than a single notice. And that's going to help us get more housing opportunities for teachers while we wait for a large project to be built and approved by the town and voted for. And I'm being a bit intentionally vague here about the plan because I want to give the committee and the administrators the freedom to expand upon and specify the details of the plan, and to not only consider this idea, but to spark other ideas, because we have been sitting here complacent with our current methods for years now, and barely anything has changed. And our best candidates are being left behind because of housing, while we do nothing. And when something is broken, we don't sit around and wait for good luck. We go out and change it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment? No? All right. We will move on then to the superintendent's update. No, we will
Yes.
not.
Nope,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
I'd like to invite Abby Backus
Yes,
and
thank
her
you.
teacher, Miss Jamie Witherell, to come up. And hopefully this microphone up front is live so we can get this done. We have a frame the size of that. Is it on? No. Hello? Hello? Is it on? wish you want to use one of these. Come on over here, Abby, you gotta use this one. I feel like we're all here to hear Abby read her essay from this contest. I'll just tell you a little bit about it. My name is Jamie Witherell. I am the K through 2 STEM educator, one of them at Nantucket Elementary School. I'm just finishing my first year here on the island, and what a privilege it has been to join this community. Back in Greenfield, which is where I spent the last decade teaching, we participated in the Massachusetts School Building Authorities contest every year. And so when it opened this year, I was so excited to have our first graders join. I didn't do the math until after we were already starting the contest, and I was like, oh, we have 120 first graders that are going to enter this contest. I don't know if you've ever had to help 120 first graders write essays and finish their artwork, but it was quite the feat. So just a huge shout out to our instructional assistants that work in first grade, because they also made this project possible. We entered, and Abby, I haven't even told you this, we entered with what School AI did some math for me and said is over 60,000 other first graders across the state of Massachusetts. Abby was selected as one of the 10 regional finalists, so we headed up to the Boston State House with the Backus family, and Abby got to receive her prize. And then at the end of the conference, they announced that Abby was not just the regional winner, but the grand prize winner, and her artwork will appear. So her artwork will appear on the Treasurer's Report that will be published later this year. It'll be the front cover of that. And along with that, I'm happy to have her share her essay with you.
My ideal school is a lighthouse pool with a water slide that goes down to the pool. There is a library with floating chairs. There is a zip line from the tree to the lighthouse. Finally, there is a telescope to see all the planets in our solar system.
Very exciting. Thanks for having us.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Still one of my favorites.
Sorry. Okay.
Continuing. I do have a little housing update. Not housing, excuse me, hiring update. They do come hand in hand. So we are in a pretty good place with our hiring across the district this year, as we have hired 15 out of the current 24 open teaching positions. We still have around 9 positions that need to be filled. I just spoke with a new candidate, so I should add that. It's actually 16 out of 24 today. So we have 8 positions that still need to be filled. The majority of them are special services areas, with 2 special ed teachers, 1 social worker, another social worker, tier 3 adjustment counselor at the high school, a school psychologist, and a speech and language pathologist. What this shows us is that it is very hard across the country to find people for these positions. We will do everything we can to advertise and attract candidates. I did speak with Cape Cod Collaborative today and mentioned our challenges in these areas. They are struggling, as are most other districts on the Cape, to find people who are of similar positions in their communities. So we will do our very best to hire aggressively, to advertise aggressively, and hope we can find the right people to fill our open positions. As for teaching assistants, ESPs, and custodians and grounds people, we are in need of approximately 7 to 10 TAs across the district. It is always a kind of a moving number, but that's currently where we're at. We have been able to hire for our open positions as an ESP at NIS and one of our grounds people. So those are also all set. So we will continue working very hard at hiring and hopefully assisting with housing for the folks that are in need. So any questions about that? Okay. Final updates. Graduation was a great success. I won't go into great detail because you have 2 lovely seniors here who are, I'm sure, going to share a little bit about that. Our pre-K and K students have completed their time as pre-K and K and are headed up to the next level. Our 8th grade promotion ceremony for 8th graders is on Friday, June 20th at 9 a.m. And finally, our other graduates, our retiree ice cream social will be happening tomorrow night. We please hope that you can come and enjoy with us. It will be, not tomorrow night, it's tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. Thank you. That's it.
All right, great. Now I'd like to move on to presentations and discussions of issues to the committee, and we'll start with Chip Clooney, Director of Facilities.
Good evening, everyone. Chip Clooney, class of 1981. 1981. The facilities and grounds, the team is just amazing that I have. They're great guys. They work really hard. Michelle Kramer, Dimo Boychev, Barry Malu, Alita Tejada, Joe Perry. They're the leaders of the crews that get everybody going, get everything done. So they deserve a great deal of credit for anything that's done facilities-wise. And they get it. They're good. Next up, we have the 24 Surfside offices. This is what we've got. We got through HDC, so we have plans. This is going to go behind the old Kaiser property, next to the central offices now. You can see the office space, and that's what it's going to look like from First Way. During the year, last year I was, for the first time, I went to the Mass Buys Expo. It's in Gillette Stadium, and it has literally hundreds of vendors, and they're all up there, and it's a great show. This year I took the whole crew. So all those guys who were in the building could really meet people and talk to people about different things that they could bring to the schools. It was a great success. Everybody loved it. We won't go back every year. I think something we can do every other year, but it's something to keep things fresh and new ideas from securities to painting to all kinds of things, clothes, everything. So it really covers every base. So we loved it. We had a great time. It was a good bonding experience for our crew, so it was good.
Nice.
On to accomplishments. So this is some of the things that we've done. There's been so many. We started off with the vocational wing roofing. We did all the painting of the green, of the trim of the windows. We've put in mini splits. Really, a lot of renovations. Every classroom we go through, we pick certain classrooms, and each school gets painted every year. So there's always a sector that gets done. Anything that needs to get done, we get in there in the summer. That's our time to really get stuff done. And the guys do a great job. One thing that is kind of fun, all our FY capital accounts were approved, which is good for us, right? And so that was good. Our upcoming projects, we've got the town voted for the security cameras, so those were passed. We're getting bids now, or prices from different companies. Two-way radios, the LGIs, we're going to pull the rug up here. We're putting in more mini splits. I will say that the cost of the mini splits, last year we put in 19 for $21,000. This year we've got 9 going in for $31,000. So that is a dramatic change. That is, I think, due to tariffs and due to those things that we've been hearing about in the news. And all our certifications. We have the NES vestibule. That's an exciting project for us. We've talked about bringing it out of the front of the school and making an area where the kids can stand before school, keep them out of the rain and that kind of thing. So we're excited about that. And that's really where we're at. Is there any questions?
Vince?
Come back to me.
All right. Esmeralda?
I do have a question on the NES vestibule. Do you have
Sure.
a draft of what it would look like, or?
They're working on the pictures now, but we're going to come out. Originally we had talked about putting on the inside, but because of the bathrooms and because of the design and the site, there's room outside. And then years ago we had talked about putting a roof overhang over, but it didn't go anywhere. But we've revisited that, and we can make the roof go literally in that whole corner. So it would come off the wall by the A A7 is the room, and then all the way around and give us enough room for a vestibule and an overhang.
Okay, thank you.
Vince?
Sorry, thank you. For the cost of the mini splits, have you looked at talking to National Grid to get financial support or get some kind of assistance to see if they have some programs for at least residential? I don't know how it applies to educational institutions, but they might be able to offer some kind of incentive that might help bring down the cost a little.
That's a great point. We have not at this point, but that's a great idea.
Chantal?
Are we seeing any other side effects of the tariffs? Are they affecting us in any other areas?
Construction costs, anything that we're going to be doing with construction costs are going up. Oddly enough, the day-to-day stuff hasn't been really affected, like the supplies we use, the cleaning supplies, the bags, at least so far hasn't been affected, but down the road, I can imagine it's going to go up.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, of course.
As for the capital projects that you guys got approved,
Yeah.
do you think any of those will be affected by this?
Yes, most
Yeah.
definitely, most definitely. And that's the kind of thing that we were at a conference on Wednesday, and there are a lot of schools were saying that they have bids out and they've gotten prices from contractors that are no longer good, because the contractor's coming back and saying these things that we bid out have tripled in price or even more. And so that is something that everybody's dealing with nationwide. So it's not just us.
Good luck, Martin.
Yeah, I know. Martin's getting gray hair, see? I'm coming down on Martin.
Dr. Leffery?
You had mentioned about an asphalt track.
Yep.
Is that how far in the
have-
future?
We're working on the drawings now. We're still working on the schematic drawings. We do have an asphalt track in mind, new buildings, new field inside, grass field, natural turf field. So we're hoping that appeases our PFAS situation and we can move forward. So that is definitely something, a whole renovation of Capizzo Stadium. I've looked at it in a number of different ways, and there's just no way to do it without a major renovation. I just don't think we could piece it together the way it is now.
It does have a certain dilapidated charm.
Not unlike myself.
Cecilia?
Just curious. Can you clarify what is it called again? What is a mini split?
Oh, it's like an air conditioning unit that goes in the room. It heats up and cools down.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Mostly cools down for us.
And are you finding that we have to limit the number that we're putting in this year because of the tariffs, or?
Not so much. We're worried about the electrical. It's a payoff that we have to work on the price and how much electric load it can take. And so there's a lot of different factors, but not so much the tariffs. The tariffs were more of a surprise to all of us, to be honest with you. We didn't see that coming, but
Gotcha.
I think we're aware of it now, so we're keeping an eye on things.
Thank you.
Nora?
No questions. Thank you.
All set?
Yeah, thank you, Chip.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Chip.
All right. Oh. Now moving on to the athletics annual report with Travis and Matt.
So I guess we're dropping years we graduated high school here. So class of '98, Travis Lombardi. Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present to you the athletic department's annual report from this past year. This year has been very successful for the Nantucket Whalers athletics department. Our student athletes, coaches, and staff have consistently demonstrated hard work, dedication, and sportsmanship both on and off the field. Their commitment has not only brought significant achievements, but has also created a positive school culture that we can all be proud of. Our primary goal, remains to provide strong athletic opportunities for as many students as possible, promoting physical well-being, teamwork, and character development. We're thrilled to report healthy participation numbers across all 3 seasons between both NHS and CPS. And I'll just touch on these real quick. For the fall season, we saw 246 athletes participate in 8 offered sports. CPS had 156 in 6 sports. During the winter season, the high school had 165 student athletes involved in 7 sports, and CPS had 53 athletes in 2 sports. And for the spring, the high school had 188 student athletes spread across 8 sports, and CPS had 65 in 4 sports. These numbers reflect our continued effort to offer diverse athletic programs that cater to a wide range of interests and skill levels, providing positive experiences for all of our students. I'd now like to take a moment to celebrate some of the achievements from each season, starting with the fall. Just bear with me. Boys soccer, girls soccer, field hockey, and girls volleyball all qualified for the state tournament. Individually, we celebrated Suze Perriner from field hockey, who was named Cape and Islands League Field Hockey Co-MVP. A really memorable moment for our community was the football team's 22-14 overtime victory against Martha's Vineyard in the Island Cup at Fenway Park. Yeah. All right. We'll take that. Our student athletes were also well represented in the Cape and Islands League during the fall season with regards to All-Stars, with a total of 30 All-Stars named amongst 7 fall sports. On to winter. Our swimming and diving team stood out, being the sole team to qualify for the state tournament. Both our girls swimming team and girls basketball team were crowned Cape and Islands League champs. Individual excellence was also recognized, with Maddie Lombardi being named Cape and Islands League girls basketball co-MVP, all due to her mother over here, Adrian. Maya Johnson was named girls swimming MVP, and her brother Jake Johnson was named boys swimming MVP. We had a total of 32 league all-stars selected from our 7 winter sports teams. And most recently, spring, boys and girls tennis, boys and girls lacrosse, all qualified for the state tournament. Our girls tennis team made history by advancing to the Elite 8 of the Division IV state tournament, which was the furthest any girls tennis team has ever gone in the program's history. The girls lacrosse team also reached the Elite 8 of the D4 state tournament, and our boys team made it to the Final Four for the 2nd straight year of the state tournament. And we also had a total of 24 league all-stars selected from our 7 spring sports teams. Beyond the seasonal highlights, the athletic department has focused on continuous improvement and growth. This past year, we welcomed 3 outstanding first-year varsity head coaches: Michaela Lyons for girls volleyball, Reese Everett for football, and Chris Mimic for cross country. We also celebrated significant player milestones and accomplishments. Vicky Todorova earned the prestigious Massachusetts Volleyball Coaches Association All-State selection. Girls soccer player Adney Brannigan became the girls soccer all-time leading point scorer with 84 career goals and 61 assists. Girls lacrosse player Mason Lower scored her 100th career goal this spring, and Rory Murray also set the cross-country 5K school record with a time of 16:54. Our commitment to safety and professional development was strengthened as our athletic trainer Tyler Konopka and assistant athletic director Matt Hunt, my man right here, both became certified in CPR, first aid, and AED. This ensures that we can continue to provide crucial certifications for our coaching staff in-house. A major step forward was also working with SNAP to successfully build and launch our Whalers Athletics app. And just a little side note here, Matt here was the one that was behind all of that app, so like all the credit goes to Matt for creating that app. This app will serve as a vital tool for communication, schedules, and keeping Whaler Nation connected to Whaler Athletics. And finally, we were excited to host the Whaler Pep Band at a few home football games. I think Dr. Hallett maybe got in there one time. Yep. Thanks to the collaboration and efforts of Mr. Papard. Their energy and music definitely enhanced the game day atmosphere for our athletes and fans. None of these accomplishments would be possible without the incredible support and hard work of countless individuals. And we have a slide up there, but that's just a small portion of them. The athletic department would like to express its sincere appreciation and deepest gratitude to everyone there. But before I go back to my seat there, this was all positive that I just revealed to you. There is one thing that I feel that everybody here should know and be aware of, is that the busing issue was a real headache for us this year. I truly believe that the 2:30 end time to the day is really, really impacting athletics in a not so good way. I won't bore you to death on how it all breaks down, but in a nutshell is like during the week, so Monday through Thursday we get out of school at 2:30. During the week, the visiting teams take the 2 o'clock boat over, which docks at 3 o'clock. The teams weren't getting picked up till 4:45, 10:04, when our games are supposed to start at 4, and the majority of the teams return on the 6:15 steamship. So, and that's a result of, and I get it, we're short on bus drivers and everything, but that is a true result of that 10 minutes. So we're exploring different options. I mean, Morgan and all the bus drivers did the best they could, but it's something that we really want to try to focus on this summer and come up with some kind of plan for the future. And I know that you guys are in touch with Cape Cod Collaborative on a regular, so they're aware through Morgan. But I think it's just important that you guys are aware of that as well. So in closing, it's been truly a privilege to serve as the athletic director this past year and for the last 4 years. We look forward to building on this momentum and continuing to provide an exceptional athletic experience for all the Nantucket students in the years to come. So, thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Vince?
Congratulations on a great year.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Esmeralda?
No questions, just congratulations.
Thank you.
Chantal?
Same, no question.
Same sentiment? Tim?
I don't think leaving the visiting teams in the cold and rain is such a bad thing.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
deal with all the calls and the texts, and it's not fun. It's not
Well,
fun.
just don't answer them.
Yeah.
The bus gets there when the bus gets there.
Okay, I'll use that next fall. Yeah.
Cecilia?
Just thank you. I know the scheduling this year was tricky too with the weather, so thank you guys.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
If I may, I appreciate the mention of the busing situation. It has been a challenge, and I recognize that. I am happy to report, and I think I've mentioned this already, we will have another driver this coming year, and that should alleviate some of the situations. We may not have to do a double run for middle and high school. And I think we have really stepped up our communication with Cape Cod Collaborative. We have monthly meetings with them. And so I think that whenever we are ready this summer to really talk about what next year is going to look like, we will absolutely bring in athletics to have those
I was just
conversations.
going to say, we're happy to meet with anybody
Yep.
on it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Nora, did you have a question?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, moving on to time to review the draft cell phone policy. Dr. Howell.
So it has been in discussion for a bit based on the some movement that has happened on the state on Capitol Hill and State House, in particular around potentially removing or not allowing students to have and utilize personal devices and cell phones in schools. There are lots of reasons that have been shared around research, but the Nantucket Public Schools has had long conversations around this and have seen this as an opportunity, not necessarily something that is going to be a negative, but a positive, so that our students have more opportunities to communicate better to each other and to their teachers, and to build positive relationships with each other as well, as opposed to utilizing cell phones during their free time. We know that cell phones are not permitted in schools, in high school and middle school, and at the high school there are caddies where they can be stored during the day. However, it is different when schools do not have cell phone usage at all, from the first bell to the last bell. So this is a draft policy that has been shared with the school committee, and you have had a chance to review it. My hope is that, and that you will consider this for a positive vote, but I'm ready to open this up for anybody who would like to bring questions or any situation to light. And certainly I can fill you in as best possible, but we also have our principals from middle and high school here today, if they and the assistant principals as well, and I'm sure they could also share some information if you wish. But I'm happy to open this up to the school committee for questions, comments, etc.
Does anyone have any questions? Vince?
Thank you, Chair. Lots. So I read this many times over. I see nice little provisions in it, that there's, how should I put this, nothing punitive like detentions, that there's, you lose it, it gets taken to an office, you lose it, you then have your parents brought in, then you're invited not to bring your phone to school at all. That's nice. There's a certain amount of, should I call it, leeway in that. I've spoken to a lot of parents. I've tried to find mostly middle and high school parents over the last couple of days when I was chatting to people walking around. The vast majority all like this, and so do I. And the only question that keeps coming up is extreme emergency situations. That's about the nicest way I could put it. Nobody wants to go describing that in a school. I don't. But extreme emergency situations is the politest way I can say it. So if there could be some minor, so the question that I have is, how do these get unlocked? Are they unlocked at one central point in a foyer or in a corridor? Can they be unlocked in classrooms? How does that work?
So there will be a lot more information coming to you around the company that we will be contracting with, Yonder, as we have lots of information that will be shared around their devices, around how we're going to roll this out, etc. Yonder works with heavy-duty cloth pouches that have a magnetic closure, similar to what you see and what is used in clothing stores where there's a tag attached. What will happen is when students arrive in school, they will put their phone into a pouch, and the pouch will be closed, and that closure will stay that way until it can be unlocked with a magnet. The magnet will be available in the front office, and it will be available at the end of school. As students leave, they can unlock their phones. Yeah. So there will not be available in classrooms, but will be available in the front office.
Yeah. So that was one of the other questions I had, not to the chair for me.
No, fine.
So having one central point, effectively a cloud point, will that be an issue causing hundreds of children to line up every day to try and unlock their pouches? Then that gets back to the question of if they were able to unlock them in several locations or even in classrooms under emergency situations, that could give and alleviate the concerns of parents that I've heard. And that's the only real concern. Everyone else broadly supports this.
So it has been advised to us from districts that have, not only Martha's Vineyard, which is using it, to only have magnets available in the front office and at the locations. It is too much to handle. They're fairly large and heavy, and we have to mount them on a wall. However, the unlocking is incredibly fast. You walk by, you touch it, it unlocks automatically. So it can happen in a matter of seconds. It's not anything that needs a long period of time, or that, similar to what you see in a clothing store. I know it's not exactly the same mechanism, but it's similar, where you have to stick it in a special area and it removed and all of that. It also will help us, we believe, in channeling our dismissals and arrivals through the main entrances, which is the back door of the high school and the front door of the high school, to allow for students to get through that way. If we had them in classrooms, we would have to determine which classrooms, and that, I mean, they're quite expensive. Most schools have a maximum of 3 or 4 magnets. They're pretty large, and they're mounted up on the wall before and after, or right when there is dismissal and arrival. So people will bring the magnet out, put it in its case, have it for, and if children are getting dismissed early, then they would go to the front office and have their.
The only thing I'd ask for is more magnets to unlock them, increase the number of locations, stop choke points, stop, very large gatherings in individual places, and so that, if there was an issue, to be able to unlock them. That's the one concern I kept getting, and that's the one thing I'd like to answer. If we could have more unlocking or a different method of unlocking, would alleviate the one concern that came to me consistently.
So I'm happy to research that with the company and find out what their recommendation is and how to approach that. Certainly, we can talk more about that. I'd like to see what other districts are doing, the amount of time it takes to unlock phones quickly. I want to make it clear that if there are emergencies, there are numerous outgoing phones that can be used to call parents across the district, across the school. So there's always a way to reach a parent immediately. So we want to make sure that children know that they do not have to use their own phones, that we can do that across the school.
All right. Last point, I've never known a company to turn down more money when you're trying to buy more equipment. And if they have recommendation, fine, but I'd still advocate for more unlocking.
Okay. Thank you.
Esmeralda?
I echo Vince's comments, and I also do agree, but I do have, how is it going to get policed at the entrance, like at the beginning of the school day? Like, are there going to be checkpoints?
So again, we are still in the very beginning stages of planning for this. We have, the company has, they have been doing this for many years with thousands of districts across the country, not just Massachusetts, but all over the place. So we certainly want to hear from experience what people have done. It is, the expectation, it's an honor system in that we are asking students to close their pouches, and we have periods of time in the beginning of the school day where we can check that. So what happened in the first period when students come in. And if they're coming in late, then that can happen in the front office.
Okay. How do they keep track of whose phone, or each student's given an individual magnet?
They have their own pouches, so they have their own actual pouches, just like a glasses case, and it stays with them the whole time. So the phone never leaves the possession of the student. So it's their pouch, and their phone is inside.
Thank you for clarifying. I was wondering how or the school system was going to keep track of all these phones, but the student has access technically to their phone in this pouch.
They are not able to open the pouch,
okay.
but the phone is in their hands, meaning it is not in anyone else's hands. It is in their own hands. It's just that if they need to access their phone, for example, they're getting dismissed, then they have to go to one of the locations and speak with an adult to open their phone.
Another question. A lot, I don't know, maybe some students have Apple Watches or Apple.
That's addressed in the
They
policy.
also go in the pouch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all I can think of for right now. Thank you.
Chantal?
I echo what Vince said. I think in this day and age where we're dealing with more violence in schools, to take our kids' phones away when they might need to contact someone other than the person in the classroom. What if the teacher isn't available to be contacted? What if something happens in the hallway and they're in the bathroom? There's not a phone in the bathroom. What if kids, unfortunately, have to lock themselves in a closet and they need access to their phones? They're not running down to the front office to go get a magnet. To have more magnets available to unlock the phones throughout the school, I think would be helpful. And to say that the cost of getting the unlocking magnets, if you will, sorry if that's not the right terminology, is inhibitive for us to explore that option is kind of crazy when we're talking about spending X amount of dollars to get a pouch for every single child in the district. That's expensive. Curious if we had explored, what if we looked at getting the pouches for the kids who have been warned, now you're caught in class on your phone twice. So now you have to go get pouch from the school and you're locked in, and that is, that's the consequence for you.
So, if I may, the issue is not necessarily using cell phones in class. It is using cell phones outside of class. And so the issue is that students leave the classroom to be able to use their phones. So often there are multiple times per day or even per class where students leave so that they can use their cell phones to do various things that are not class related. So the whole idea is to give them an opportunity to be able to stay focused, stay attentive in class, not be distracted, not be worried about meeting someone in a bathroom to sometimes do illicit behavior, unfortunately. And so this hopefully will allow for students to build stronger relationships and be able to work and be more focused in class and not worried about, oh my gosh, it's this time, I've got to go meet my friend. And there are still ways that they will meet up. There are still opportunities to connect with kids and say, I'll meet you at this time and that time. But by removing that draw, and the other piece is social media. If social media is available during the day, again, it's a serious detractor. Again, we're trying to build this as a positive thing as opposed to a punitive thing. So I certainly we can do research to have more magnets, and I understand that. But we've got to be clear about usage. I mean, we cannot allow some to use and some not to use. It has to be across the board. And if students are in need to use their cell phones, again, to call a parent, something like that, they go to the nurse's office, they're getting dismissed, they feel that they need to call a parent, they can certainly do those kinds of things in an office with an adult to unlock their phone.
So have the baskets not been working? Have teachers been collecting phones in class?
The baskets work. However, again, when a student leaves, often they either bring that phone or sometimes they bring another phone, and that basket is holding a dummy phone. So that does happen.
All right. I would just like to add that the feedback that I have gotten is similar to what Vince has said. I have also heard concerns addressing what Chantal just said. And then someone suggested that it's the whatever you call them, buds, yes, that sort of accentuate the problem, and that is a larger issue than the phones, but I don't think it's necessary to split hairs. But the feedback that I also received were from individuals that work as, they come in and they are substitute teachers. And then it's, havoc, because as when there's a substitute, a lot of the rules are not followed in the same way. But, as we talked about this policy, I think that it's something that we need to put in place. And also, it's coming from the state as well. So it may not even be our decision at a certain point. So I am in favor of it. I recognize as a parent, I love that contact as well. But I recognize that. I think something needs to be done. And I think it's probably, it's in draft form. I think it's had a lot of eyes on it, and I am in favor of it. But Tim, comments?
I have heard comments from teachers that having the cell phones in the classroom is really detrimental. And I think it is a real problem. The smartwatches is stretching it a bit. I mean, everybody would be out buying the Mickey Mouse watches. Then we'll have to teach them how to tell time with that.
First graders do learn that.
But I think it's something that's going to come down to us anyway. Mm-hmm. I think the city of New York has implemented something along these lines. I'm not sure exactly how they're doing it, but they're getting the phones out of the classrooms.
Cecilia?
No.
No comments? Yes.
I think the concern has already been expressed. Simply just if there is a dangerous situation, it could be scary to not be able to contact a parent. Mm-hmm. As we've had a lockdown before, it was terrifying. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a phone then. I would have loved to be able to contact my mom, but
If I may, I understand the need, the true need for people to connect with their loved ones when there's an emergency, but I will also say that if our SRO was here, she would tell you that is one of the most dangerous things is to have that kind of interference when police and fire are trying to lock down, shut down a situation because often people are coming and not understanding the situation. So
I hadn't thought about
it's so important that we maintain strong communication lines, and if currently they are not strong, then we know as a district we have got to strengthen our communications. And this is outside of individual between cell phone user, student, and parent. So if we have to have multiple lines available in the front offices to make sure that parents and students can speak, more outside lines in guidance and nurses' offices, we will do what we can to make sure that that's available. Because we want parents to know that children are protected inside the school. That being in the school, we do everything we can. We're trained every year to make sure our students are protected.
No, I think overall it would actually be beneficial though.
Thank you. Nora?
No comments, just the same kind of concerns, so.
I've got a question. Chip, does the overhead work in all of the schools? Announcements?
The intercom.
Mostly, yes. There are some spots that need to be fixed, but very much it does.
If I may, and Stephanie, I might call you to answer any questions if this happens. We are completely overhauling our phone system. We're going to be installing a new phone system, and our phones include the ability to send announcements or use for announcements, and that should provide us with the options for you. That should provide us the usage to cover the issues that are potentially not currently where there are places where the overheads are not available. So the hope is that the phone system can assist with that.
No.
I have another question. So, I believe it was the last meeting, we had conversations about implementing a dual-step verification process. Where's that going to exist if not on the cell phones?
So every student will have the ability to receive either with a fob, and Stephanie, you have other places that, is it through email that they can?
They'll have a badge.
Badge.
Yeah,
A
they'll have
badge.
Thank you.
Okay,
They'll have a badge or a PIN number.
okay.
And a PIN number means something not that they put in from their phone. Yeah, we deliberately have it set up with no phone included. They would remember a PIN number, or they would have a badge.
Can I ask you a follow-up on that?
Yes.
So, any authenticator app, it doesn't matter what it is, say Duo is one of them, Microsoft has another one, they all have slightly different systems. Some of those systems time you as to how fast you can get to that pin and put it in, or whatever the little click is on a phone. Say if one app that students use requires that kind of dual authentication, but it's from a different provider, such as Microsoft as opposed to Duo, how would that work?
For the Chromebooks?
Or anything?
Do you mind coming
Or
up,
apps?
Stephanie?
Or even if it's an app, some apps are locked without dual authentication.
Pulling holes in the school committee's tires.
I think that's even tighter there.
You did it.
I'm not really sure what app you mean, because they won't be using their phones, so
Yeah.
that's where my confusion is.
So,
The multi-factor authentication was for their Chromebooks.
yeah,
So it would be simply a badge or a PIN number that they have memorized and that they have created themselves. And the badge would be something they could put on a lanyard, something they could put on the back of their ID card.
so I guess I'll broaden out the question if I may.
Yes.
That there's no other devices or apps or websites that they'll use that will need dual authentication. There's only one as Chromebooks.
They would enter their Chromebook, that would authenticate, and then from there, all of the apps, again, to my knowledge, that they use would not need multi-factor authentication because it would single sign-on with Google.
Can you teach this as a term? Because I have to authenticate like 5 different things.
That's intentional.
Yeah,
It's
it
the
is.
most secure way to do it.
Yeah,
Yes, of course.
that's brilliant. That's good.
Any more comment or discussion? We're not proposing to vote on this tonight. No. So, any more comments? All right, I think we'll move on then to committee discussions and votes to be taken. So, vote to approve the donation from the Community Foundation for Nantucket to the Nantucket Community School for $28,700 to support programs at 56 Center. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to approve the donation from the Jean F. and David G. Nathan Fund for $250 to the Nantucket Community School pool programs. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to approve the grant from the Nantucket Education Trust to the Nantucket Community School Summer Boost Program for $6,000. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to approve the grant from Remain Nantucket to the Nantucket Community School for $12,500 for marketing and communication.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to approve the grant for $15,400 from 1-8 Foundation to Nantucket Public Schools to support staff travel to programming.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Vote to approve the grant for $600 from SKU Massachusetts Professional Learning Community for Darren Lucas Hayes at Nantucket High School. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to approve the appointment of School Committee Clerk Katie Bedell. May I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And congrats.
Vote.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Thanks
Feels
for
like you
not
never
leaving us.
left. Right. Feels like you never left. Vote to approve the April 15th meeting minutes.
So moved.
May I propose an amendment to the April
Yes, I saw
15th
that.
minutes to include that I was present?
Yes.
Second
Vote
as
to
amended.
approve, yes,
Yeah.
with the amendments. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to approve the May 6th meeting minutes.
And I will propose the same amendment.
Yes. May I have a motion with the amendment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to approve the May 20th, 2025 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Vote to approve transfers and invoices.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now, for their curtain call, Student Council Representatives Nora Sullivan and Cecilia Wendelkin, who I just want to thank. You guys have been amazing. It's been such a joy having both of you. I feel like we got like double the joy. So thank you. I just want to give you a round of applause.
So leading up to graduation last week, the seniors had a pretty busy week. There were a lot of events. Last Tuesday, June 10th, we had senior awards night, and there were various awards presented. There were department awards, athletic awards, book awards. The honor cords were presented, scholarship awards, and the valedictorian and salutatorian for this class was also announced. And then seniors had graduation rehearsal on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday morning before graduation. We had baccalaureate on June 12th, and this was held at the First Congregational Church. It was a really great night. There were amazing speeches from various priests around the island, as well as our class advisor, Mr. Cothran. And there were also poems and music contributed by the seniors, which was really cool to see. And then, obviously, we had graduation on Friday the 13th. Despite it being Friday the 13th, it went pretty well. It was a really great night, and we thankfully had beautiful weather. And our commencement speaker this year was Casey Neistat, it was a really interesting speech. And then following graduation, we had a car parade that went from the high school through town, so.
And then moving on to this week, it is the last week of school for the district. Last full week. The last day will be next Monday, June 23rd. down. Juniors, sophomores, and freshmen are taking their finals this week, which we did a couple weeks ago. So they will have a strange schedule this week as well. Not strange, but altered schedule. And then elections for next year's class officers were held in advisory. I don't think we have the results yet. And yeah, just lastly, we just wanted to say thank you for an amazing year. I think we both really enjoyed getting to see the action behind the scenes. It's really interesting. And thank you for all your hard work. You guys are amazing. Also, thank you to Miss Hylam for choosing us. we had a blast. It was a great year. Thank you so much.
We loved having you. Thank you. Subcommittee work group reports. Anyone have anything?
There was a Cape Cod collaborative meeting, which unfortunately I was not able to attend.
Right, we can't be in the doghouse.
I know.
I put us there once.
Yeah.
Well, we had a policy meeting.
We did.
The results of which are before you. And anyone else?
We did have the grants.
You're not with me anymore. I'm so
gone.
sorry.
We
I
had the
was
grants
giving
subcommittee.
Chantal credit.
It's Vince.
Yeah, we had the grants
Yes.
committee subcommittee meeting,
Yes.
scholarships,
Yes,
and
that's
all
right.
of those were awarded. And good luck to the recipients.
Yes. Anyone else? No. Let's see. Agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, so we do have, it's not on our agenda, but we do have a scheduled voting meeting on June 20th. Should be very quick in the central office, so please come. That has been posted. And then our meeting after that, July 22nd, will be a retreat in which the school committee hopefully will work on its goals that will align to the new DZ district standards and indicators document, which I've shared with you, but we'll share again and we'll go in more detail there. And that's it.
Great. All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, girls, again.
Thank you. Thank you for the.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
Welcome.